Hello everyone, my name's Suzanne and I am a gardening and cut flower enthusiast in Devon in the UK. I grow flowers in my cottage garden and I also grow flowers for cutting in a designated cutting patch, which actually I've just recently extended. So if you're just about to build a cutting patch or extend yours, if you look back through my content, you'll see how I did everything from scratch. It was just a piece of pasture land that had been used for livestock to graze. So look back at those videos if that interests you. Hello everyone. This week's video is a bit of a strange one, only because I actually haven't filmed anything this weekend. Some of you may not know, but a lot of the UK has been having a prolonged period of dry weather, but where I am in this part of Devon, it really hasn't rained for an awful long time. We did have a tiny bit of drizzle on Saturday, was it? But it was so insignificant that I found myself this weekend just watering, and not watering everything, just watering the things that I think I'm going to lose if I don't. I did plant a lot of new shrubs in the cottage garden in the autumn, and they're looking very sick and sorry for themselves. Lots of the things in the cut flower patch are looking a bit better because I did a much better job of mulching in the cut flower patch than I did in the cottage garden. I think I remember to do areas in the cottage garden, but I was so set on getting the cutting patch extended in time for the growing season that I possibly neglected the mulching, and obviously I regret that a little bit now. But anyway, hopefully things will make it through. I was hoping for some rain over this weekend we've just had, but actually we just haven't had any. They've been threatening of thunderstorms, and I've been, oh yes, thunderstorms, but they've missed us. I mean, a band of rain is great because you know you're going to get it. A thunderstorm is hit and miss, and some people will get it and some people won't, and we didn't. So yes, my weekend was watering, and then a big hooray though, I washed my pots. They're done. I've been saying I'm going to wash them for weeks and weeks, but I've washed my pots, so that's great. And the reason I did it in the end was because I needed this workspace out here to be clear. This was all just piled all along here, and back there was all just piled with the dirty pots, but I really needed this workspace as well as my workshop, which is just to the side there, because my friend's wedding is in 4 weeks and I'm going to need the extra workspace and the extra room. Also, my workshop can get very hot, whereas this area tends to be much cooler. But also I do steal a little bit of the garage workshop, which is really cool for storing flowers. So that's great. So anyway, so that's a big tip. But obviously I didn't film that. You didn't want to watch me wash pots. What I did do, I washed the pots in the sink, and then you can't quite see. I just have a bucket underneath my outlet from the plug hole there, where I catch the water. So what it did mean was that I could use the water that I was catching from washing the pots to then take out and water in the garden. In fact, I've still got 3/4 of a bucket there, which I can do some water. So anyway, the uptake is this video has been filmed over the last few weeks, and it includes things like I started some biennial and perennial seeds. I did some seriously budget hanging baskets, and I've done quite a lot of planting out in the cut flower patch because I just wanted to get things out in the garden now. So anyway, that's what's in this week's video. And just before I go on and show you that, I just want to show you how pleased I am with something. I've tried to grow stock for the last 3 years very unsuccessfully, and to be honest, this was my last go at growing them, or I was going to give up basically. And I can tell you now that I will not be giving up. Okay, so just feast your eyes. I'm so pleased with them. So the stem length, the flower, pest free, which, considering how bad the pests are in the garden this year, is amazing. That's stress on the plants. Well, for me, the plants are stressed because they're thirsty, and therefore pest and disease are just going rife. So I'm chuffed with that, and I love the colour combinations. I don't, when they're seedlings, I do not worry about taking away the singles and the doubles, because for me, they're both beautiful flowers. So I keep them both. So there we've got purple. I think that's the lavender. So I've got doubles and singles there, so you can see the different. Oh, look at those! I'm so chuffed with them. And then I've also, another fail for me is I grow the perennial phlox, no problem at all. But the last few years I've had fairly poor results with the annual phlox. You know, I've had odd stems that have done well, but in general the whole crop has been a bit rubbish. So you can imagine my joy. I know it's not straight, but look at that. You know, look, imagine you're making I think I'm going to make a bunch of flowers, but look at these colour combinations. So I just had to show off, I suppose, because I'm really chuffed, because these were going to be things that were going to go on my not growing again list, which I've been compiling. But now, how can they go in my not growing again list? They're just lovely and smell lovely as well. To be honest, the garden's gone from nothing to everything all in one go. And you can see the colour combinations I've been planning for my friend's wedding here. The candy tuft there, celia. They all just go so well together. You'll be able to join me on that journey. I probably will film the whole wedding flower prep from start to finish and do it as a video, so that'll be coming up. That will be sometime in July. Okay, so it's something for your calendars. Anyway, enough of me rambling. Enjoy the video. Thanks very much. I'm in the shed. I'm gonna do a little bit of seed sowing. I've already sown a few biennials and perennials. There's Canterbury Bells, single, Canterbury Bells, and that's Achillea Summer Pastels. And there is actually they're very sparse, but there is some germination in there. What else have I already done? Canterbury Bells, the doubles, and Dianthus. Dianthus barbatus. I always did a mixed packet of seeds before, and I've ended up with the really hot fuchsia pink, which, although it's lovely, I'd quite like a bit of variation. So I've gone for the white and for the paler pink for the Dianthus. Keeping the top of the compost moist at the moment is proving to be very difficult. I've got my mister in here, and I'm just trying to reg this, because although the top of the compost is drying out, the trays are still heavy, so I don't really want to keep watering with a watering can. And I haven't got enough humidity domes for everything, but it is just a case of, while I'm at home, obviously when I'm at work I can't constantly come in and miss things, but some things have germinated, so that's positive. And in fact, some of the things that I planted that didn't have humidity domes have germinated, but actually that was some late annuals that I did. I did another succession of cornflowers and Phacelia, but they're outside because, you know, the temperatures for hardy annuals now are totally fine. They germinated outside actually in trays with no cover. But what I want to do today, what have I done? Oh, here they are. So I've got a mixture of biennials and perennials. This is a perennial, and this is the feverfoo, but it's the ball-shaped one, because I've got lots of the daisy-shaped feverfoo, but I've not grown this one before, and it's actually Really clever, this seed packet, because there are two colours and they've actually got them divided in the packet, so there's a yellow and a white. So I'm going to sow those now and possibly plant them out in the autumn, or potentially plant them out in the spring. We'll see how well the seedlings come on. I'll try and put a picture up of those ones if I can find a picture. Snowball and gold ball, that's what it says they're called. And then biennial, I have never successfully grown honesty. I'm not growing the honesty for the flowers. I really want the seed pods in my dried flower and wreath work in the winter. So we're going to have a go at some honesty, but I've never ever managed to successfully get it to grow. So that it could be bad seed, it could be bad gardening. So we'll see. And this seed company that I found, I won't do a plug for them until we see how well the seeds germinate, but I was really impressed. They sent all these little labels and they put some free seed in the packet as well. So if these seeds germinate, I'm going to give this company a really good plug, and I'll definitely buy from them again. But let's check the seed out first. Foxgloves. I did I think it was Sutton's apricot I did last year. I've got those in the cutting patch now. The reason I've gone for a different colour this year, I've gone for white, is just because that was the only colour this company had, and I wanted to just order all from one company in one go rather than shop around and order some from this company, some from that company. So I've gone for the white, and I don't think you can go wrong with a white really. So that's the Alba. I'll put a picture up. You'll know what a white foxglove looks like if I don't know. And then although I've sown some Achillea there, I've sown the summer pastels, I have gone and got myself a separate packet of the cloth of gold. Again, this is for drying. This is that real yellow. And again, this isn't for flowering this year. This is for flowering next year now. All these seeds are for flowering for next year. You've got to really think ahead. If you're having a May-June gap, you definitely want to be sowing biennials now so it doesn't happen next year. Although I still had a bit of a May gap. Every year I get better at it, and hopefully I'll keep getting better at it. Right, let's sow these seeds. So as always, I'm peat-free, so I'm using peat-free compost. I'm using Silver Grow, and I've already watered these trays so they're nice and heavy. So I've got 4 trays, 4 packets of seed, and I've used the free labels that they came with, and I've written what they are on the labels, so that's quite handy. Okay, so let's start with the one I've never successfully grown before. Let's start with honesty. Open the packet. So it says on the packet here there are 50 seeds here. Because I've not had much luck with it before, I'm tempted to put all 50 in actually. Now I think because they're quite a big seed, I'm just going to push them in rather than cover them, like scatter and cover. I'm actually going to push them into the compost. Generally my rule of thumb is the bigger the seed, the deeper you plant it. And it sort of goes for stuff that is surface sown, generally really likes the light, whereas the seed that's a bit bigger quite often likes darkness to germinate. But maybe that's why I'm going wrong. Maybe I should do some on the surface and some push in. I should have possibly sieved this compost. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's just pure laziness that I didn't. Right, let's do an experiment. The side that I've pushed in, we'll put the label, and then these ones we will lay on the top and cover, and we will see. Now I'm spreading these seeds out pretty well because, in all honesty, if these germinate, which I sincerely hope they do, they are going to sit in this tray for a long time, because as my season goes on I get really bad at looking after things that I've germinated, and they'll probably sit in this tray until the autumn. So I don't want anything that need pricking out. The foxgloves are such tiny seed, I think I'll find that a bit more difficult with those. But we'll see. We'll get to the foxgloves in a minute. So I'll just get a dusting of compost just to lightly cover these. I'm not going to water them again because I am pushing them onto the compost, so they make sure they've got a good contact with the moisture. Right. I've just got to try and get these ones back in the bag. I think they actually sent me 2 packets of the Honesty, and I can't work out if it's because I ordered 2 packets. I didn't think I did, or if it was an accident from them, or if it was a gift, because as I say, they sent some leeks, some lettuce, some little dwarf dianthus. What else did they send? They sent some more. There were like 4 gifts that they sent. Alright, so then we'll just do a sprinkling on the side, and we'll see which ones do best. Okay. So yeah, the foxgloves are definitely going to be trickier. I'm going to try and spread them as thinly as I can. I'll get all the seed to the bottom of the packet as well, because you can see quite a lot of it. Although it does say in here approximately 5,000 seeds. This is where I go and plant 5,000 in one go. No, I really will. We're going to really try here and do this sparsely. There's nowhere I have room for 5,000. It's at this point that my friend actually turned up to visit me. So I won't show too much more of me seed sowing, because I haven't got a lot of dialogue to go with it. So I'm just sprinkling the foxglove seeds onto the surface of the tray, and that's because foxgloves do need light to germinate, so they prefer not to be covered. So this bed here has got some annuals planted this end, and then this is all bulbs, and you can see here the Cosmacia have completely finished now and started going to seed. So I'm just going to cut the seed pods off, so they're putting more energy into the bulbs, and we're going to dig those up and move those. And I'm tempted actually to put them in my grass meadow just outside the cut flower patch, because I didn't know they would grow in grass until I went to an RHS garden last weekend and I saw them growing in the grass. So I might do that with those, and the irises I'm going to pop in the cottage garden. I probably will chop the flowers off and put them in a vase in the house, because they'll find transplanting a bit easier if they haven't still got the flower on. I know that seems awful, but a patch like this is a productive patch, not a pretty patch, and I need this space now to get some more annuals in. So it's going to seem awful, but we're going to get this job done now. I've cut them off really short because then there's more green left on the bulbs, and actually it means it's more likely next year I'll have a bit of a better show in the cottage garden. Obviously the ones that I'd cut for bouquets have been cut right down to the ground, so there's not so much green on them, so they probably won't come back quite as well next year, but for the cottage garden they'll be beautiful, and they'll look lovely in a vase in the house too. Okay, so that's the irises all dug up and ready to go in the cottage garden. Now we'll do the cosmaceas. And there are the cosmaceas. Okay, so the bed is a lot drier than I thought it was going to be, particularly this side over here. So before I plant anything in here, I'm going to have to give it a really good water. So I'll do that first. Okay, so I've watered the area where I'm going to plant out, and I'm going to replant my phlox which got eaten by slugs. They're stalling quite a lot in the pots as well now. I just want to get them out, and they're either going to grow or they're not. But what I'm going to do first is, even though I've watered the soil, I want to water them, but I want to feed them before they go out as well. So I'm going to make up some organic fertiliser, and I'll be making it up for the transplanting. So let's have a look at that. So I've just got this one, which is the organic seaweed food, maxi crop. And for transplanting, it's 15 mils to 9 litres. So I'll just use my 10 litre watering can and try and get it to 9 litres. I know, while they're having a really good soak, I'm going to go and put the kettle on and have a cup of tea. It's a bit later in the day now. I've just done a few other jobs. So I've planted those iris in the garden, and I've been to pick up the wool. But now I'm going to plant out these phlox. They've had a good drink of fertiliser, so a transplant feed. And I watered this ground earlier, and once we planted them I will mulch this as well with some chicken bedding, so I'll go ahead and do that. I ran out of chicken bedding, so I've used a bit of pony hair, so it'll be interesting to see how that works. For those of you that were worried about those irises this morning that got dug up, don't worry, they've made it into a vase to go on my kitchen table. Waste not, want not. Okay, so put some soil in my hanging baskets, and we have got peach melba. I wonder if I've got the packet with a picture on there. Hold that thought. Annoying, I think I've tidied up. I had all the seed packets there, but I've obviously decided to put them away. I will find a picture of peach melba is that one, and then the other one is called salmon baby. So let's see, how many have I got that germinated? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 peach melba, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the salmon baby. I'm going to do 3 hanging baskets. If I'll put 3 in each of these. I think 4 will be too many. And because we've got more of the salmon baby, I'll put 2 of the salmon baby and 1 of the peach melba. I haven't got gloves on again. Water these in a minute. Yeah, I'm not very good at really pretty hanging baskets. I used to be. When I had a patio garden, I was much better at pots. But pots take a lot of time, and I used to have a lot of time because I only had a patio garden. Now I've got too much garden to do good hanging baskets. But hopefully these will look good. Better than nothing. Right, so there's 3 in there. These are really good water. These are completely dry. But these have been in the greenhouse. This is why I haven't got hardly anything in the greenhouse now. It's way too hot in there. Good roots though. This soil is actually quite nice and moist. But I'll still give them good water. I think originally I'd recorded another section, but I seem to have lost it. But I wanted to mention, because it's important, that I'm planting my nasturtiums into soil and not into compost. And that's because nasturtiums will tend to get very, very leafy if they're planted into compost. Right, I'm going to hang them up somewhere. I'm going to harden them off a bit, so I'll hang them up during the day and bring them in at night for a few days. I might actually keep them in the shed, because I think the greenhouse is a bit too hot at the moment. We're getting quite late in the day now, so I think I'll put them out in the morning now. I'll give them a water and they can stay in here tonight. And then I'll put them out first thing in the morning. Okay, so I'm quite pleased with that. So the hanger baskets are £2 each, so it's £10 in hanger baskets. The soil was just out of the garden, so that's free, and the seed packets are £2.50 each, so it's another £5. So it's £15 for 5 hanging baskets all in. So I'm chuffed with that. I've got 3 nasturtiums left, and I've just realised I've got loads of stuff hung on it, but I've got this old plastic hanging basket here. So if I put those 3 in there, then they've all got a home. So I'll do that, and then they're finished. Before I say goodbye, and thank you for watching, I can show you the seeds that I sowed and how they're coming on, because I filmed that a little while ago. So let's go and have a look at those now. Okay, so most things germinated, but here we've got a couple of things that haven't germinated yet. One of them is the foxgloves. That's interesting. Foxgloves are usually easy for me. I think perhaps I should take them outside to germinate them. It might just be too hot in here for them. And then I did mention when I was sowing that I've never had much success with honesty, and that bout of luck continues. So again, I might just take both these trays outside. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop mollycoddling them, and I'm going to take them outside and just let nature germinate them for me. So I can't remember exactly which ones I filmed me sowing. We've got Dianthus barbatus here, a pink one and a white one. This is one of the seeds I sowed because it's got one of these labels. Oh, and that's the Achillea cloth of gold. Oh, these definitely were not. This is just a late succession of cornflowers to go in for the latter end of the year. And again, that's the same with the Phacelia, just so that when things get tired, I've got more to go in. And then these pots are just, you know, when you've got really old seed and you just want to get rid of it. And I tried to grow these previously and they hadn't germinated, so this is good. This is coriander. Got 2 there, but nothing else seems to be germinating. But I think the seeds are really, really old, so we'll see what happens there. And then I said I wasn't going to do any sunflowers this year, but again, the packets were kicking around. So I've just got 1 ruby eclipse come up there, and then these ones are vanilla ice. But we'll see if I even have anywhere to put them. And then this is Canterbury Bells. So it's a biennial, that's a single. And this one is Achillea Summer Pastels. Not great germination, but to be honest, for the amount I need, it's enough. So perfect. Oh, and this is one of the ones I sowed with you. Ah, yes, this is the one which had 2 separate sides to the packet for 2 separate colours. So that's interesting because you can see this colour's germinated very well, whereas this one hasn't. And typically, this is the one I probably would have wanted, which was the white. And this is the yellow. I've got some yellow Linaria Toadflax there. I thought that would go really well with the purple. I've also got the pink, but I just thought, yeah, that would go really nice with the purple. And they're the 2 trays I just showed you, which hadn't germinated. And then just while we're here, these are a few plants, plants that really want to go in the ground or go to my grand's or do something, but they certainly don't want to stay here in their pots any longer. To be honest, some of it I wanted to put in the cottage garden, but the ground's so hard in there, they just wouldn't last 5 minutes. I just wanted to say thank you very much for watching today's video. I think we're nearly due for another tour, but I'm not sure if that's next week or not. But stay tuned and I'll see you next week. Thanks again. If you like the videos and you want to see what other content I'm creating, then please do subscribe.